One more wild card matchup to go, and we've got a best bet for you coming up in just a little bit. Also, a couple looks on the Monday college basketball slate for you. Welcome to the Morning Wager. Mark Zinno and myself, both off winning weekends. I do believe, Mark, I would hate to attribute a winning weekend to you overall when you didn't have one. I believe in truth in advertising, but I believe you and I both. I know I went 5-3-1 overall across Saturday and Sunday, so good for me and good for you.
I went something and something. I won.
Okay,
I won more than I lost. I don't have it up in front of me right now. I didn't know you were going to put me on the spot and ask me about my record.
I apologize. That is excellent record
Why don't
keeping,
you
as
ask
always,
my
Mark Zinno.
clients what my
Okay,
record
stop
is?
it. Okay, please. We're 2 minutes into the first show of the week, and
The
on that note,
clients.
I look. There's been so much football that we've all been digesting here over the last couple of days. I'm sure Mark Zinno has some rant saved up. We will table that though later. Mark, the people want free because they want free picks, and Joe Ranieri, though he's not saying it in my ear, says get to the free picks, BP, and he wouldn't actually call me BP. He would call me a very nasty name, I'm sure. Anyway. Yeah. You have focused in on UCLA and Rutgers for your half of the double play. These are two desperate teams. I think it's fair to say that, right?
Much so like my dating life, I would describe it as desperate.
Okay. So, Mark, let me ask you this. Let me tee you up this way. With two teams so desperate, why would you prefer one over the other?
Because one of these two teams needs a slump buster, and they're going to get it. And the slump buster here, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Frankly, Scarlet, I don't give a damn. Look, I have to trust the numbers here. Yes, Rutgers is desperate. Okay, they're 1-4 in conference. They've lost 3 in a row, 2 games in a row at home to Wisconsin and Purdue in rather kind of, dominating fashion. And they need a win to get off the schneid. UCLA, after starting 2-0 in conference prior to Christmas, has now lost 3 straight in conference, on the road at Nebraska, badly at home to Michigan, and then got smoked by Maryland in a game that I was on the under in, and it didn't come in because Mick Cronin lost his shizzle in the middle of the game, got a tech, gave a free 4 points to Maryland, and it went over by 2. But the difference here is this. Rutgers is desperate, but they're bad. UCLA is desperate, but they're supposed to be good. And I have to trust the numbers here. Like in conference play, these are two of the bottom offenses in the Big Ten right now. You're talking about 16th and 17th, respectively, for UCLA and Rutgers as far as offensive output. And their defenses are very middle of the road. Nothing exciting. But if you look at overall the metrics of these two teams here, everything sort of favors UCLA. They have the better offense. They have the much better defense. They caused the most turnovers of any defense in the country. They are a team that doesn't really shoot all that particularly well, but they shoot better than Rutgers does. And so when I look at the matchup, I just kind of have to trust that these numbers, that the better version of UCLA shows up. If Mick Cronin, after what happened last game, can't rally the troops here, there's a real problem with UCLA, and they may be bad too. But I trust that UCLA's bad is better than Rutgers bad, and UCLA will get the slump buster it needs tonight. Bruins minus the points tonight on the road in Piscataway, New Jersey, right on the Raritan.
Slump busters. There's always regrets in the morning, but they give you confidence, that much-needed confidence. And Mark Zinno feels that the UCLA Bruins get some much-needed confidence.
I think I'll wake up tomorrow morning feeling sprightly. And I feel like that this will be a play that tomorrow morning on the Morning Wager, we will be like, you know what, fellas? It was needed. We feel good.
You will. Mark Zinno will open his eyes, look in the other side of the bed, and not feel regret, is what he said, with UCLA minus the 2.5. You know what I would not want to open my eyes and see on the other side of the bed, Mark Zinno, is the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Oh.
Well, yes, that goes without saying. Okay, yes, I would not want to see you. Please, I don't even want to. I want to get that out of my mind here. So let me do this. Okay, please. I don't even know how to respond to that. Minnesota plays Maryland, another Big Ten game, 6:30 Eastern. Mark Zinno, in the year of our Lord 2025, there isn't much that we can all agree on these days. But I do think we can all agree on the fact that Minnesota is the worst team in the Big Ten, kind of by a lot, right? This is a team that has not won a conference game. They're the only Big Ten team without a conference win. 0-5 straight up. 4 of those 5 losses have come by double digits, and the 5 losses have been by an average of 18.5 points per game. They're also 2-12 against the spread overall this season. That's very bad. The only conference game they covered, I actually gave this out last Monday, was a double OT loss to Ohio State where they went brain dead, were missing foul shots late, then they inexplicably fouled up 2 in the first overtime, leading to double overtime when they lose. Look, this team plays slow. I don't think they have nowhere near the firepower to keep pace with a Maryland team on the road that can fill the bucket. Mark, you and I, we're high on this Maryland team. We think this is a legit top 25 team. Minnesota, to the point that they just don't have enough firepower here to keep up. They're shooting 31% from 3 this year. And perhaps that game last Monday against Ohio State, we should not have been surprised by the poor free throw shooting. Why? They shoot it at 62% from the charity stripe. That is bottom 5 in the country. I think Maryland runs away with this one. They'll easily win by 15 or more and cover the number. So Maryland, minus 14.5 is my half of the double play to go along with Mark's. UCLA, minus 2.5. UCLA and Maryland, not what you think of when you think of a Big Ten double play, but it is a Big Ten double play.
Well, Maryland's been in the Big Ten longer. They've been there for easily 10 years now, right? They left the
but I mean,
ACC
not
part of greener pastures, along with some Scuttle, as we say. You know, a little Scuttle.
By the way, that's a good point. Just not for nothing. A lot of these teams complain about the seeding in the college football playoff tournament. That is still going on. We're down to 2 teams, of course, Ohio State, Notre Dame. You know what, Texas? If you wanted to be a top 4 seed, maybe you shouldn't have left for the SEC and took that money. You could have been a top 4 seed if you would have stayed in the Big 12 and won. But I digress.
Oh,
I like to just, say these things, just get
I'm
it out.
glad you have an opinion. It's not often that you do. I mean, you sort of cower behind your own opinions, but that's neither here nor there.
Love Dan Quinn and the way he coached last night. That's an opinion.
Can I, speaking of the rant that you said was coming, can I just say this? The one play I did get wrong this weekend, our Jalen McMillan prop that we gave out on Friday to go over 52.5 yards. I text you. When that dude dropped the first pass that would hit him right in the hands, I said, this prop is dead. That is a bad omen. When the first pass you get hits you right in the hands and you drop it, boom. And, of course, he finished 12 yards short, and I think it was a 12-yard pass that he would have had that would have ultimately sent us over. But not only that, you informed me after the fact, because that apparently that bet was dead on arrival, because it got the kiss of death and mushed. It got the kiss of death and mushed by walking. We were walking.
It was why it walked right off a cliff.
Dear Lord. I mean, come on.
Yes.
Just
sorry.
I'm
sorry.
I would like to know where the mush people are. They should have to, like, all the people who fake this and suck at it. And listen, I'm not telling you I'm the best at this. I'm not even telling you at it, but I at least do my work, right? I at least pretend to be good at it. Like, the people who suck, I would like them for all their picks to be broadcast, so I know to stay off of it. Because had I known that one person was on it, I would have never played it ever. It was mush. It's like you never seen a Bronx Tale?
I've seen it many times.
Yes. He bet the horse. Tear up the tickets. There you go. Done.
There you go. Mark Zinno, walking, talking, still going. WT.buzz/MZ is where you can find all of this. Dan Quinn was a great coach last night. I can't wait. I cannot wait for the aggressive nature of that Detroit-Washington game coming up this week.
There's just something. Listen, again, I covered him here in Atlanta. There's something about him that just his his seems reckless. Dan Campbell's seems focused. Like Dan Campbell seems like it's part of a plan. Dan Quinn seems like his going for it nonstop is just, it's just throw caution
I'll
to the
say,
wind.
I'll say this. Look, the reason Washington got a lot better relative to last year, and I was on Tampa Bay, wrong side last night for the record. The reason Washington got a lot better relative to last year, well, the number one reason, pretty obvious, Jaden Daniels, drafting him, that kind of worked out pretty well. But if you look, their fourth down rate this year, Washington, it is unbelievable.
Yes.
And it's a big reason why that team has succeeded, I would say, and why they're winning in close games. Meanwhile, I think Tampa Bay should have went for it instead of kicked the game-tying field goal, but that's a different story for a different day. I know you disagree with that. Look,
I mean, you can't not tie the game. You can't. Tie the game.
Well, they lost it. I would prefer to win it. Again, 1970s conservative football, the frozen tundra, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Stop.
That's what I think of that.
That's not what happened. They lost it because they fumbled the ball away. That's why they lost it. Everything else they did up to that point was fine. They got the stop they needed. They got the ball back. And guess what? They fumbled it away.
Dan Quinn would have gone for it instead of tying it up, and he would have won. And he won.
No. Oh, my God. You're annoying.
All right. Well, we agree to disagree. But we're still friends, and that's all that matters.
Don't agree. That's the point. We're not agreeing to disagree.
That is true. That is true. And I told you this morning, for 2 years, I told you that I didn't believe in Baker Mayfield. And what do I do on Sunday night? Anyway.
Listen, he was great all year long, but he
was. He was legitimately better. He's got good coordinators, but he's still short, and he's turnover prone.
And he apparently didn't throw the ball to Jalen McMillan enough. That was the other problem last night.
All right, let's get to our best bet in the NFL. We've talked enough about a game last night. Yes, that is what we're being paid for allegedly here. All right, Minnesota and the Rams.
For the alleged in there, because I don't really see any cash flow.
Okay, all right. I regretted saying it instantly. I'll be honest with you.
All right, there's a lot of things that come out of your mouth that you should regret saying instantly.
Well, yes, okay. Minnesota and the Rams. Obviously, as most of you know, certainly almost all this game has been moved to Glendale, Arizona, due to the terrible fires out in Southern California.
Oh, terrible.
So they are terrible. I think that's a fair comment.
I didn't say it wasn't terrible.
Oh, I thought you questioned it for a second. I said, "My God, man, did we not?"
I was agreeing.
Oh, terrible. Okay. I thought between that and the Minnesota Golden Gophers being sucking, I thought those were two things everyone could agree on. Anyway, I think you and I agree on that this is going to be a high-scoring affair when these teams met in the regular season. It certainly was. What was it, a 30-27 final, 30-23? Anyway, they went over this total, whatever what it was. And Minnesota didn't have TJ Hawkinson for that regular season meeting. The Rams had just gotten Puka Nacua back. The Vikings admitted after the game, Mark, that they were not prepared for Puka Nacua playing in that game. So caught perhaps a little flat-footed. The Vikings obviously off a terrible performance last Sunday night. I don't think that's indicative of where this team is. But talk to the people. We like the over. Let's tell them why.
Minnesota, for all of their offensive exploits, on the defensive end, while being opportunistic, they are not very good when it comes to pass defense. Why? I don't know why, but they're bottom 5 in the league in passing yards allowed. Again, they were tied for the most takeaways in all of football this year, but their pass defense can be had. And really, this is a Minnesota team that blitzes a ton. The highest blitzing team in the NFL this year. Matt Stafford is as good as it comes against the blitz. He'll be able to get the ball out quick. You got two very capable receivers in Cooper Kupp and that Puka guy that they were not prepared for. They probably might be prepared from this time. So I think Stafford works out really well for him and the Rams offense. And listen, the Vikings offense should do okay against the Rams pass defense. That also isn't great. Very middle of the road, bottom half of the league, but nothing special. And this is not a defense really this year. It's remember, the Rams are the one team in this postseason with a negative point differential. That means they've given up more points than they've scored. That means that there's a good chance that they will give up points here today or tonight rather. So I kind of look at this and I go, there's a chance that this Rams defense, which is 7th in yards allowed overall, should net a lot of points, You go back to the last game that was a 30-20 final that BP mentioned. The Rams racked up 386 yards of offense in the game, and were able to actually win it 30-20. That was at home. Obviously, this one's in a different location. Vikings had one of their worst offensive performances of the year in that game. Sam Darnold only had 240 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Aaron Jones only had 58 yards on the ground. So I think we get some regression back to the mean for Minnesota, and we go over here.
Yeah, thank you for correcting me on that. Yes, it was 30-20. I said 30-27. I misspoke. There was a late safety in there. Remember, the Rams should have been called for a face mask on that safety. If you remember, there was a lot of discussion about that over on X. All right. I have a best bet on this game tonight. Not only do I like the over, but my best bet is on the side, 4% best bet. It is available at WT.buzz/BP. 2-3 Sunday overall, 1-2 in the NFL. That was disappointing, but it was a winning weekend overall. 23-12 all sports run, including 6-2 in the NFL. So we bounce back tonight with this 4% best bet on Rams Vikings. Mark, I know you also have a play available on this game tonight.
Oh, I do. And it might be when I told you about this play last week. It's not the same one as BP's. Settle down, folks. When I told you about this play last week, I told you I was excited. I genuinely felt like this is one of the more solid looks that I had for the weekend in the wild card here. So I have a 4% play up. We'll have a play in college hoops as well, possibly 2. I think we're going to get a second one, BP. And we've been hot in college. We've been hot. So hot, I got to be on WagerTalk last call on Saturday, which usually is like another kiss of death for your day. I ended up with a split 2-2, but it was it was just like running along, everything's going well, and then when the queen calls, you answer. Yes. The queen said, "Do you want to be on?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'll do whatever you need me to do." And I said a lot of smart things, but 2 games I lost by 1 possession each. Both the games I got wrong, 1 possession, 1 possession. Yeah, Texas Tech kind of kicked us right in the nuts on Saturday.
Yeah,
make your free throws, dummy. Make your free throws.
I was fortunate enough to have a +1 in that game, but yeah, that sucked. But I got lucky with Penn State yesterday. That what sets us apart, Mark, is many things. I think from many other people do this. Well, that's one thing. But 2,
we're more educated.
Yes, we will perhaps kvetch, cry, complain when we get a bad beat, but we'll also admit when we get a little lucky. And I was a little lucky with Penn State yesterday against Oregon. I thought that was a bit of a lucky one. But
we are the honest brokers. We are the gatekeepers of honesty in the sports betting industry on this show.
Yes. All right.
Oh, we're getting kicked out.
For our honesty, smash that like button. I knew it was coming. Smash that like button. Comment down below with your thoughts on Vikings and Rams. And please, if you already haven't done so, make sure you're subscribed to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Yes, Slump Busters, everybody. A Slump Buster actually changed my life. I'll tell you that after we're done with the show.
She's your wife? What?
You're in trouble.
That's what you just said.
No,